I'd like to call the special report meeting. Order, please. Amy, roll call.
We need to do pledge of allegiance, sir.
Call the board of pledge allegiance. Okay, get it. Mike, you did it. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now you can do it.
Mr. Yacobosi.
Here.
Mr. Zappa.
Here.
Mr. Engel.
Here.
Mrs. Gillis. Here. Mrs. Snyder. Here. All present and accounted for.
Entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as presented, including any and all addendums.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Engel.
Aye.
Mrs. Gillis. Aye. Mrs. Snyder. Aye. Mr. Zappa.
Aye.
Mr. Yacobosi.
Aye. Apparently there's no one here who wants to speak to the board. Okay. Treasurer's report. Amy, go ahead, please.
The only actual report item I have for this evening is that the Local Records Commission just met at 5 p.m. today. The Local Records Commission, to remind you, is made up of the superintendent. Of course, Mr. Molnar is in Mr. Sayers' stead this evening. Board President, Superintendent, and myself make up the Local Records Commission. We reviewed 4 different records disposal requests, none of the records of which need to go to the Ohio Historical Connection. And these are physical records that will be shredded. We also spoke about our records that are digitized, and we also spoke about some other physical records that in the next couple of months, administration will be reviewing for disposal at a later time. Probably won't bring that to the board before September. So shall I move into the recommendations?
Please do.
Okay, so item A, something you normally see, the minutes to be approved from the regular May 24th board meeting. Item B are the financial reports for the month of May, exhibits 7A, B, and C, that was in the original packet sent to you. Starting with item C, it gets a little bit more involved here. Item C are revisions to the current appropriations, and you'll see that in the packet that has just been laid in front of you. Exhibit 7D. Exhibit 7D only has 2 funds for changes in appropriations. 499 fund, which is a miscellaneous state grant. It was actually a preschool pandemic type payment that we ended up receiving over $28,000 for, and we've done a really good job spending it. So $6,375 for the board to approve this evening, and then the 507 fund, 9222 Special Call Center, which is the ESSER 2 grant. We had been allocated $1,186,000, and the state reduced it recently to $1,177,000 and change. Those appropriations changes, mind you, have been sent to the county auditor because they were required to be there by 4:30 p.m. So they received them at 4:30 p.m. today, just to be completely upfront. So does anybody have any questions about the changes to appropriations in item C? Hearing none, I will go on to D. D is a done and now invoice, that exceeds the $3,000 threshold, of which I am given the latitude to approve myself. Therefore, this comes to the board. It was an older invoice that we just received, and maybe Mrs. Walker can jump in on this, but to my understanding, Mercy Health, now Bone Secures, has switched over to a new invoicing platform, and they found that they had not invoiced us for this. And Mrs. Walker, I'm sure that you would like to tell the board that you have vetted the invoice and determined.
We have vetted the invoice to determine that all of the charges were solid and legitimate.
Okay. Any questions? We will move on to item E. Item E, E is exhibit 7F. you'll see, it's a participation agreement with SORSA. SORSA is Schools of Ohio Risk Sharing Authority. It is the entity that provides the district, along with their reinsurers, provides general liability, property, and commercial auto insurance to the district. I believe I put in my update to the board that the premium increased about $10,000. That's not surprising. Coverages through SORSA are typically greater coverages from an apples-to-apples standpoint than if we just go straight with a Liberty Mutual or something like that. So, and just rest assured that every year our property values are reevaluated. So each year our property values increase, in which we pay premiums for insurance. So the $10,000 is not out of the ordinary. Any questions on the SORSA agreement? Then I would like for you to turn to the appropriations for fiscal &22. We have 2 pages there. One is an annual appropriation, which is a temporary resolution, and this is summary by fund type. The next page is a detail of each fund, not by special cost center within each fund, but just by fund, which is the upper level that the board appropriates to. Any questions about that? The board is approving a temporary appropriation of over $51 million for all funds in the district, starting 7/1. And then item G, which is the return of advance from food services per Exhibit 7H. Find in front of you Exhibit 7H. This shows that the Food Service Fund 006 is returning $100,000 that was advanced to them by the general fund earlier in the year. $100,000 is being returned. I'm sure the board will approve that. And then Exhibit 7I is item H, and it's to approve advances to the federal grants. We have a $500 advance to the high schools that work, $123,000 and change to the ESSER 2, and $5,574 and change to Title 6B, which is the Special Education or IDEA grant. The last couple of years, I have not asked the board to approve advances to the federal grants. We were able to, last year, request cash, produce, they're called PCRs, Project Cash Requests, later in the month to ODE. We weren't able to do that. So the PCRs that I did earlier in the month covered most funds, but not these 3. So then item H is a donation, and that covers everything for recommendations 7A through 7I. Any questions?
Is there a motion to accept Amy's recommendations?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Zappa? Mrs. Gillis? Mr. Engel? Mrs. Snyder?
Aye.
Mr. Yakobozzi?
Mike, you can say anything about the superintendent's report to the district report, we're going to just jump into you.
I was going to have 2 quick items.
Go ahead.
Real quick. Which will be me. The first one was just a thank you. 2 years ago, when the pandemic first hit, we were in the process of just beginning looking at new math programs in K-5. So that was put on hold. So during this past school year, which was a very difficult school year, all of our teachers took half a year to explore 4 different programs. And so they came up with an excellent decision, the best program I think that they have out there, so it was an excellent job. And so after this very difficult year, as we approach summer, where everyone kind of needs a really nice summer vacation, we have math training. And so I just want to thank all the K-5 math teachers and intervention specialists, because not only did they select an excellent program, but they're giving up quite a few hours of their summer to train the math program, prepare the math program, and get ready for next school year. In fact, 2 of the days happened this week already. So Monday, Tuesday, about 50 teachers were involved in doing work 2 full days. So I just want to give a big thank you to them for all their work this past year. And the second thing I want to mention is, as you know, 2 years ago we moved to an online returning student information system where instead of filling out the blue cards and everything, you can do it online. So the first year we got about 75% in by January. Last year, in our second year, we had 95% information in before the first day of school, which was phenomenal. So this year we're opening it again. The first 2 years we opened it in August, but we've prepared it, it's ready to go. We're going to open it probably tomorrow. So we're just going to give parents the entire month of July or August, whenever they're ready and comfortable, to in their parent account, take care of the information and update everything. And just so you know, we've added a few new items to it, one of them being transportation. So parents can let us know when they fill out that form whether their child's going to be maybe a car rider, bus rider, or walker, which will also feed into the Pick My Kid up system that Powers and Nord uses. So that'll save transportation and the principals a lot of time in that we'll be able to kind of mass add that information from parents directly instead of trying to collect that all within the first day of school. So parents in the community can look for that. Probably tomorrow we'll put out news items and let everyone kind of log in and do what they need to do, take their time. So those are my 2 items. Thank you.
Any questions for Mike? Thank you, Mike. Sarah Walker.
That's me. Just a few things, a few people actually I want to highlight on the board agenda today. We've got 4 new hires for intervention specialists. I just wanted to share with you a little bit about each of them because they're coming to us. I'm so excited they're going to be joining our team. 2 new hires for Powers. Anissa Antush is coming to us from the University of Toledo. She's got her master's in special education. When I talked to her cooperating teacher, she used words like innovative, flexible, high moral character. She makes herself a part of the community, a lot of really positive things. When you meet her, you'll be shocked that she's fresh out of college. Like, she just carries herself like someone who's a veteran teacher and just has confidence and poise. Allie Costello is also joining the Powers team as an intervention specialist. She's an Amherst grad, got her bachelor's from Ashland University, and when I spoke with her Ashland supervisor, she said that Allie seemed experienced right from the beginning. Used words like above and beyond, very impressive, just really puts her heart into it and is truly there for the kids. Then 2 individuals joining the team over at AJH. We have Kate Hilvers coming in. She's got also from University of Toledo, has her degrees in counseling and special education. Going through her recommendations, exceptional presence, positive attitude, advocate for kids, motivated and integral part of the team is something that I have written down as well. And then Katie Hirsch is coming to us from the Midview Schools. She actually used to be a long-term sub for us years ago and has been trying, waiting for that position to come back into the district. She got her undergrad from BGSU, and talking to her, and just from what I know about her, she's just an individual that goes above and beyond, very positive, lots of skills and knowledgeable working with kids, grace under pressure. I mean, just some really positive individuals coming on board with us. And the reason why we've got these folks coming on board with us is because we've got opportunities for, I think it's in item E, you'll see transfers for Brian Sustansky, who is a intervention specialist in the junior high, is going to be taking on, expanding his leadership skills as the new dean of students with Nord, pending your approval. And then Erica Stallings, Heart of Gold, is going to be able to kind of expand her passion for helping others as our new guidance counselor at Powers. So that'll give us 2 counselors working in a building of, the size of Powers. So that'll be good. But that's just really excited about all of those changes and those additions.
Any questions for Sarah? Thank you, Sarah. Mr. Riegel?
I don't really have anything to report from the JDS. I mean, we just are doing normal summer stuff. So if you have any specific questions, I'll be glad to do that. But otherwise, I don't have anything earth-shattering to share with you from last week's board meeting.
Maybe no food items or anything, no flowers, like
Yes,
that?
no,
We're
nothing.
getting back to normalcy, so you'll have your
Thank
usual
you.
Come fall, you should have everything.
holiday goodies and everything else.
Woohoo! Will
Right now,
they
there's-
have Will they open up the restaurant in the fall? Like you can go, do you think?
Well, I don't know that yet because there's a change in staff there.
Okay, I'm just curious.
Chef Mickey just have retired,
Okay.
so I don't know exactly what will transpire there. The new person, I mean, it will open at some point in time, but
When, yeah.
yeah, when, I don't know.
Okay.
So things are going back to normal, like the labs will be open, everything will fall.
At this stage of the game, that is the plan. The school starts in the end of August versus September. Should be back to,
Any questions for Rex? Thank you, and instead of talking about schools going back to the grade, you did a great job on TV the other day.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, 5 calls and said they were interested, and we said sure, and then I'll be there in 15 minutes, and they showed up in 10. So I'm just grateful that
It was a good interview.
Grateful I wear a suit this summer.
Right?
They were there in 10 minutes.
Good thing you always wear a suit,
Always
Mr.
wear a
Mulder.
That's right.
Any other reports? If not, I presume like you're gonna handle personnel recommendations.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Jacobozzi. So we have personnel recommendations. There's quite a few, but they are your routine summer items, mostly about new hires, maybe last minute retirements or changes, also some leaves. And I do want to highlight item O, which is the list of math teachers, again, who I thanked earlier in my report. So again, I'm grateful to them, and that's an attachment. We got the 50 teachers that's working this summer, so I appreciate that. With that, I'd like to recommend personnel items A through Q to the board.
Is there a motion?
So moved. Second. I don't mind to do it, it's fine.
I think I heard Teresa go first.
All right.
Rex was second.
Very good.
Sorry, Bill. Okay, any discussion?
I just have a question on Brian's move. Tell us about that interview process and how many applicants applied for that job, please. The dean of students at Newark?
Yeah, so we opened it internally first. We wanted to see, of course, knowing that we're using probably ESSER funds, we were looking for someone internal because we can only guarantee right now a 3-year dean of students position, as well as some of the other positions we were looking to use ESSER funds for. And so an internal candidate was going to be the best candidate. And so we had, how many people applied there? Did we interview?
We interviewed
Four, correct. So we had 4 internal candidates, all did an excellent job. And so through the interview process, we selected Brian as a top candidate. You're welcome.
Anything else? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Gillis.
Aye.
Mr. Engel.
Aye.
Mrs. Snyder.
Aye.
Mr. Zappa. Mr. Yakubowski.
Aye. Educational recommendations, Mike?
All right, these items are also routine, these educational items. Most are contract renewals and purchase services that we do. All, of course, are educationally based for instruction for student services. A lot of them have to do with special education services that Sarah usually organizes and coordinates over the summer. The only thing I want to highlight, though, is item I. One of the items here are for the overnight field trips, which we have a couple over the summer that have to do with usually sports, camps, competitions, and we have added one this year that normally is not on here, which is the DC trip for our incoming freshmen. So as all of you are aware, our 8th grade students this past year did not have the opportunity to have the DC trip, and so I'm so grateful to the high school administrative staff, Mr. Tellier, Ms. Harrington, Mr. Tony. They organized so that the high school freshmen have an opportunity to go to DC this year as 9th graders instead of 8th graders. So it's just an enjoyable item to add to the agenda here. But again, the other ones are mostly routine contracts and services, so I'd like to recommend educational items A through P.
Is there a motion? Mark, second? Teresa. Discussion?
Who's the travel group that we're using for these trips now? Because the one that I know we used for many years is no longer in business.
I I do not know right now offhand the company. I would have to look at the attachment.
But it's the same company that junior high uses?
I do not know. But find out for you.
I have no question.
Mr. President.
No
No,
No lecturer?
and it's the same company, correct?
That's the same,
Which one?
no one.
No ac-
I thought they left.
I don't think it does.
It's just, maybe it's different people. That's why when I saw that, I was surprised at that. That's why I wanted to make sure that that was correct.
I know that, there was a big, blow up a couple of years ago.
Yeah, because they had taken people's money,
Yeah.
and we were not
Yes.
part of that.
Yeah.
But they had taken people's money, and that's
Closed
where I
their
thought that
doors.
they had closed their doors. So I was just making sure that it's a new group of people under that same name, or how did they resolve some of those issues, because that's been a couple of years ago. We were not part of that money-taking scam or scheme, or whatever it was.
So I'm assuming like to give it that concern, make sure these guys are.
Absolutely. We'll check in on that to actually find out if there has been a change of hands or if there's been a change of leadership or possibly someone else has purchased the company and we'll look into that.
Who's looking at?
NOAC is heavily used for Exide.
Yeah, I know it had been, that's why it was such a shock when all that stuff came out. Because they had been known for school trips for decades. I just don't want us to get there and then come September and all of a sudden deposits have been made and money sent in. And there's an issue.
Yeah. We'll talk with
This
Mr.
is part of
Senator
the extra due diligence.
and Mr. Joseph.
Okay. I'm sure they've done that, but you never know.
Any further questions? Roll call.
Mr. Zappa?
Aye.
Mrs. Gillis? Aye. Mr. Engel?
Aye.
Mrs. Snyder? Aye. Mr. Yakubowski?
Aye. Business recommendations?
Yeah, just a couple of business recommendations this evening. Wanted to highlight item H, since it was added near the end here before the board meeting. This is work that is a bid where we'd like you to approve from Urbans to work on the parking lot for repairs here at the high school. As you're aware, maybe the community's not, a few weeks ago during one of the storms, we had water coming into the south lobby. And thankfully, our maintenance staff custodians were here to collect water and back it up while it was coming in, which we believe saved, the gym floor and lobby, and probably saved the district tens of thousands of dollars. So this kind of occurrence occurred before, and so kind of an emergency situation, we want to take care of it, and so we went out for a few local bids to take care of the issue, work with the city quite a bit, and figure out the issue and problem. Chuck Grimmett did an excellent job working with the city and collecting the bids himself, and so Urbans came in with the lowest bid and also has done work with the city and was actually here assisting with kind of figuring out the problem. And so that item is kind of relatively new in the last couple of days.
And I did want to add, from a policy standpoint, the board's policy is to observe because of Ohio Revised Code, competitive bidding within the confines, the parameters of the statute. This actually falls outside of the statute, it falls outside of the policy. First and foremost, because it is a matter of urgency. One could say, an emergency situation. And it's not a building. I mean, technically, competitive building deals with buildings, new additions, renovations, etc. So this is not a building, this is a land improvement type item. So it falls outside of the competitive bidding. We did receive, however, 3 quotes, and this is the lowest, most responsible bidder.
I have a question.
Let's get a motion on the floor
Yeah, I was
first.
gonna say. So moved.
Second.
Okay, now discussion.
Okay. I had asked to make sure that when we were getting ready to repair this, that we had confirmed with the city that the drain that the water is going into is actually large enough for the amount of water that could come down. I don't know whether it's going into a sewer drain or what it's going into, and I had asked that, requested that of Steve, and I had not heard back from him on that.
we will get that information to you. That has been answered actually, so we can answer it for you readily.
Because I wanted to make sure that part of it was not the city's responsibility.
You're talking about the drain that goes this way and back that way.
Right,
all
where
the
the,
way around.
right, is the drain large enough to handle the amount of water?
If I
We
remember
have
right,
that
the city said
down.
it is large enough, but we're still gonna divert water east and take
Okay,
it
right.
that retention area right here. And then once it hits that, there's another big sewer there that takes it right down Washington Avenue, I believe.
I just want to make sure we address that before we tear our parking lot and then have to tear up it again because the issue hasn't been fixed.
I had some communication with Chuck this week about this too, no matter who does the work. My concern was that area between the school and those concrete islands with the trees are planted, it's not really necessarily a very wide area. So when you start cutting the swale into that, to move, and if you look at that parking lot, you'll notice it goes down toward the sewer, and then all of a sudden it's starting to go back up again this way, so it really screws everything up. They're gonna cut that down so the water runs east, okay? There may be a small area over here where it picks up the sewer over here, but the general idea is to get most of that water to run over here to that big retention area. That thing is deep, and it should handle quite a bit of water. So,
Rex, from Exhibit 12H, there's a little bit of a description. It does talk about tying in a new 12-inch storm pipe in an existing manhole. Also installed 3 new concrete traffic bearing catch basins. So it sounds like we're going to be adding some basins and also using some pipe to divert water in different directions to handle the flow.
the concern with the swale too, is not so pronounced that when you go, when you're driving there or walking there, you're not, going down and coming back up again, right? It's gonna be a little tricky. There's not a lot of space to work with there.
And Urban has been working very closely with the city on this.
And this is going to be done in time for
Correct. That was correct.
Before, end of the first week in August is the drop dead date that was given.
Any other questions? No? Roll call.
Mr. Engel.
Aye.
Mrs. Gillis.
Aye.
Mrs. Snyder. Mr. Zappa. Mr. Yakubowski.
Aye. I guess 13A and B are recommendations about the board, right?
Yeah, we have.
It's really just 13A
13A,
with an exhibit, yes.
B is just the actual resolution. Okay, I need a motion.
Second.
Please, a second discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Zappa.
Aye.
Mrs. Gillis.
Aye.
Mr. Engel.
Aye.
Mrs. Snyder.
Aye.
Mr. Yakubowski.
Aye. No need for executive session, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion?
Actually, I
No.
No, I don't.
Roll call,
You
please.
sure?
Mr. Engel.
Aye.
Mrs. Gillis.
Aye.
Mrs. Snyder. Mr. Zappa. Mr. Yakubowski.